Queen's Park Rangers play host to league leaders Leeds United this Saturday for our final fixture before the first international break of 2025. So joining me once again on the channel to discuss a Leeds side that have lost just twice since the two teams first met at Elland Road back in November, just before the last international break, is Leeds United YouTuber Joe Blackburn. If you like what you see or hear, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and let's get straight into it. Hi Joe, welcome back to the channel. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, thanks. Been busy, but busy's good, innit? Busy's nice. How are
Yeah,
you doing
yeah.
yourself?
I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, busy as well, but no, glad to have you back on to chat ahead of QPR versus Leeds on Saturday afternoon. So, Leeds United moved back into first place on Wednesday night after an unlikely blip away at Portsmouth last weekend, which is just your second loss in the last 22 matches since QPR and Leeds last met in November. So, talk me through the season since then. How have things been going for Leeds?
The season has been wonderful. It has been nice and chill. We are breaking club records left, right, and centre, and you would think that everyone would be incredibly happy based on this, but no. We live in a perpetual state of stress and fear and anger when things go slightly wrong. And I like to sort of take the more positive approach, but even I'm in the sort of like, oh, it's getting a little bit nervous now camp. Like, I'm still feeling very, very happy about things, but yeah, that's roughly how the season's been going. Very, very well with hints of, oh dear.
Let's talk about the oh dear then. It's still tight at the top, but you've got a 4 point cushion over Burnley in third place right now. How confident are you feeling of automatic promotion this time around?
I don't want to say what I'm actually thinking because if I say what I'm actually thinking, it doesn't happen. Um, the way that I've looked at it is whenever we've underperformed or things haven't gone our way, we've still been a fairly decent side. So I'm going to specifically pull up the numbers from the match against Portsmouth as an example, because I remember reading these and going, oh, that's a little bit wild. They had an XG of 0.66 and ours was 2.36. We created the same amount of shots, we created more big chances, we just didn't finish them. And I feel like when you're looking at the other sides around us, you've got Burnley who are getting by on James Trafford being a wizard, and you've got Sheffield United who are just sort of scraping wins here and there. And you got to think that's a lot less sustainable than what we're doing at the minute. So over a 9 game stretch, I absolutely back us.
Now, Leeds United were one of just two championship sides not to make a signing during the January transfer window. You've only got a small handful of injuries right now. It seems the squad's in good health. So, do you agree with the club's decision not to bring in any extra support in that window?
At the time, I said to myself that whether or not I agree with it depends on how the season lands. Because everyone wanted a number 10 at that point. Everyone wanted someone that could do the creative passing stuff to replace Brendan Aronson if he had an issue, which is still a problem because if he gets injured, we're in trouble. But I still look at it and I think if it works out, because it is a calculated gamble, but if it's a gamble that lands, then we've saved ourselves a potentially big sum of money on PSR and stuff like that that we can invest in a better player in the summer. Because you're going to do better at signing someone when you're saying, look, we're a Premier League club, in comparison to saying, look, we could be a Premier League club. Plus, players are cheaper in the summer. Players are wildly difficult to shift in January unless they actively want to shift. And if they do want to shift, you've got to ask, why are they not getting into their team at the minute? So I think it was probably a good idea, but if things change direction within the next 7, 8 weeks, you have the right to shout at me about it.
Now, Joel Pirro leads the goal scoring right now with 15. Dan James is joint top for assists with Junior Firpo. Who else can cause Rangers problems on Saturday? And where can Rangers have some joy against Leeds United?
In terms of where QPR can have a little bit of joy against us, I think you need to be hitting on transition, but you need to be really ridiculously good at finishing the chances. So against Portsmouth, we lost that match because it was a ball between the centre backs that Joe Rodon couldn't catch up with. Illan is in a one-on-one and he makes the wrong decision, but a goalkeeper one-on-one, you're never going to 100% back them to win that anyway. That was transitional stuff that ended up working out. Occasionally we'll concede from set pieces, but not very often at all. So it's a case of either do really well from a set piece or hit us quickly and on the break, because the alternative is we just choke you to death. We just hold all of the ball all of the time. And if you try and hit us on the counter and leave yourselves wide open, we've got Dan James, who is the most ridiculously quick footballer I have seen ever. And Mana Solomon is similarly fast on the other flank. And Piru, God bless him, he tries to keep up, but eventually he makes it into the box and could have a shot. So I think, in terms of where our threat comes from, it's if you leave yourselves too open. Because I know that when sides are at home, you're going to be more attacking because the crowd wants that. But at the same time, that's how you open yourself up and ultimately let Leeds in to cause problems.
I mean, being ridiculously good at finishing and QPR doesn't really go hand in hand this season, so that's going to be ringing some alarm bells for QPR fans. Now, remarkably, Leeds have lost the last 4 of 5 visits to Loftus Road in all competitions, stretching back to 2018. Last season's 4-0 defeat, of course, caused Leeds to slip from the automatics into the playoffs. So to finish off, let's get your score prediction for Saturday.
Oh, you didn't have to say those words. You didn't have to do the
It's
reminding.
all I've got.
Um, I'm feeling good. And I think I'm feeling good because many times this season we've seen thing that is potential curse and just danced past it. So the match against Millwall, we'd lost to them 2 times already this season. We were coming off losing to Portsmouth, dropping points to West Brom, but we still beat them 2-0 and we beat them very, very handily. Our away form isn't quite as good as our home form. That's completely fair enough. That's one of the biggest critiques of Daniel Farke so far this season. But if we get the team selection right, if we are able to take control of that match like we've taken control of so many others this season, I'm absolutely sure we can get something out of this match. So I'm going to be confident and say a nice, terrifying 1-0, where both sides have plenty of hope, both sides are optimistic throughout, but eventually someone has to be disappointed, and the optimist in me is saying it's not going to be us.
Well, Joe, thank you so much for joining me once again. It's always a pleasure to chat to you, and all the best after Saturday afternoon.
Likewise to you too.
Huge thanks to Joe once again for joining me for this match preview. Make sure you check out his channel in the description below and give him a follow on Twitter. Quite literally the only thing going against Leeds is their poor record at Loftus Road, but it's never good when you're starting to hold out hope for that kind of thing before the fact. With Chair now also on the injury pile, Cifuentes will be forced into at least one change, presumably with either of Anderson or Dembele coming in for a start, but neither have played anything close to a full 90 since returning from injury, so it's not exactly the ideal match to be making a full comeback in. I've repeatedly banged the drum about bringing Morrison back in, so I'm not going to go over that one again, but I'm even at the stage where I'd start to think about giving Madsen some more minutes. We paid a lot of money for him in the summer, we might as well see if we can get a tune out of him before the end of the season. But anyway, let's wrap up with a score prediction before I say anything more ridiculous than that. Leeds will be hungry for blood after what we did in W12 13 months ago. We're on a horrible losing run, and I think we'll just be desperate to get to the break at this point, so I'm going 2-0 Leeds with them not having to even get out of first gear. I'd love to be wrong, so we know this team hasn't completely gone to pot, but I just can't see it being in this one. Anyway, that's just my take. Let me know your prediction and thoughts ahead of this one in the comments below. If you're new to Hoopsa, you've enjoyed this match preview, please consider hitting like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you next time for my match reaction. Come on, you R's.